everyone. Welcome back to In Moving Forward
Hello.
vlog number 22, Ronai.
Yes. Vlog number 22. If you have kept up with us this whole time, thank you and welcome back. Today, we're actually just going to do a COVID update, just kind of then versus now, when everything started with COVID, how everything was going personally, business-wise versus today. Some people's colors for their states have changed. The things you're able to do has changed drastically. And so, just kind of getting into what that day-to-day looks like now versus then. You want to start off?
Yeah. So I guess status of COVID where I am and how it's directly affecting me right now. So in the salon, we're still having to, I believe we're in phase 3. We're still having to wear our masks. Obviously, they're requiring our clients that come in to wear a mask, and yeah, that's through the whole service. A lot of us are wearing our gloves, and just sanitizing as much as possible before, during, and after each client. And then as far as like going out and about, a lot of stuff is open. It's closing very early. Like almost every restaurant around here is closing around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, 50% to 75% capacity, which is super weird because not the capacity issue, but just the closing early issue. Like, we have so many restaurants here that's almost like you can't get nothing to eat unless it's Chinese or pizza after 9.
Right.
So it just cuts everything off.
Right.
And then there's a lot of people out and about. There's a lot of people vacationing here. There's a lot of people just moving around without a mask on. There's a lot of people that believe that, there's no COVID-19. There's a lot of people that feel like there is something going on. And they're wearing their masks. But everybody just has their own thing going on right now, basically. Sure. Every store is not requiring a mask. So you just don't know what you're going to run into when you're going to run into it. That to me is just like, what's the point? Because at any point, I leave my salon where I'm totally protecting myself and and then I need to run to the grocery store, and you got 22 people in here without a mask on, without gloves on. And it's just like they're touching everything that I'm touching. So what's the point? I don't know. So as far as COVID-19, it's just a day-by-day thing. Making sure that, we're not touching our faces, we're cleaning our hands, and we're eating what we need to eat so that our immune system is good, because ultimately that's the only thing that's going to save us in any type of circumstance when it comes to the COVID-19. How about you over there?
So for me, very similar. I mean, just being over here in PA, I think it's pretty much the same thing. I had heard, I was on a trip last week, so when I came back, I had heard that we were, our governor or whatever had made some changes. And so now places that don't serve food, they're being closed back up. So they can't, certain areas you can't sit at or whatever. I was a little confused by that because I don't really see personally what the difference is between, like, I understand people are not sitting and lounging and interacting as long, but you're still sitting and interacting at some point. You're exchanging food at that. So, it's very interesting, people's thought process throughout this entire thing. I think that we're just at a point really where we have to go back to work. We have to make this work. I understand the fear because cases are rising, but let's try to focus on how many people are now dying because of it, because we're not hearing really about that anymore. In the beginning of all of this, it was very much focused on this amount of deaths. I know a few people personally living in the city that had it and survived, thankfully, and unfortunately, a lot of people haven't. And, we don't want to overlook that. You know what I mean? That's still very much a possibility. Again, going back to, the immune system and your health and things of that nature. But, focusing on, that's what I've kind of been focused on at this point. I just want to hear more about like how many people are dying now, because that's what's going to happen with the pandemic. And I think people need to understand that when you have a pandemic, everything closes up and then all of a sudden we're opening things back up. Like, cases are going to rise. That's the norm. Right. If you look up the Spanish influenza way back in the day, the same thing happened. And, it's just one of those things that you need to research. But on the day-to-day, I'm very happy that, places are open. I'm one of those people, I love to do work, in cafes and bars, and I just love the vibes, and I really feed off of that energy. So to be able to go back out has really been exciting for me, to be able to grab a glass of wine, grab a little bite, do some work, look around, just gain some inspiration off people, whatever. But I think, the mask thing still stands. I'm in a building, pretty much on a day-to-day basis where a lot of people that work there don't really feel that this is a very serious thing. They understand the seriousness of it, but they still feel like a lot of it was dramatized or whatever, dramatized and everything. And so we have people that come into the building and they're kind of like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And sometimes they'll be like, you know what, you have to because there's too many people, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I've also heard people saying that it's also it's very much a political thing. I hear a lot of people saying like if you're more red, you're more likely to not wear a mask because you feel like you feel how you feel about it. And then I hear more on the blue side, it's kind of a little different where they're more prone to wearing a mask. They want to wear a mask. They think it's more serious. I don't know. I don't like politics. So I don't really want to get into that game. I don't want to feed into that. I think people are just doing it based on how they feel about it. I got a phone call the other day, somebody that was showing symptoms and was super scared. And I think it's one of those things that you don't take it as serious until it's you or somebody that that's dealing with it, which is with everything. That's just life in general. You know what I mean? When things like that happen all through the board, we never take it as serious as when it's happening to us personally on a first-hand basis. So I think this is just another one of those things. And I don't know. I'm glad that it's not as bad as it was when everything first happened. I mean, but like I said, like I have been saying on all of these vlogs, like I really feel like it allowed us to become more in tune with ourselves, our creativity, like just things that we wouldn't normally do. We had the opportunity to do. I really feel like I started going in on my own business and putting things together and just feeling like, you know what? Let's just do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I really try to utilize my time as much as possible. Life was still happening. You know what I mean? Outside of, this COVID stuff, like we still had things we needed to work on. So I do see a lot of the good that came out of this situation, but I am very happy that things are, transitioning. And then again, going back to the fact that I took a trip, you know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people's reaction is, but you know what I mean? You don't care. That was not the case. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time researching the place that I went to. I studied media my whole college career. So there's some parts of it that I don't allow myself to get too entangled with.
Right.
Entangled. Wow. Yeah, I had to throw that in there. Had to throw that in there real quick. Because
you're petty for that. You're so petty for that, and we're not going to talk about that today. Just so you know,
we're not. But just know what we're talking about. Right. But no, I just I know too much of one side, versus the other, and so I try not to let it take over me too much because I think media does a good job of psyching people out a lot of the time, and we don't really know. We don't really know. We can only go by bits and pieces in the research that we do and, the things that we're seeing and the things we're experiencing personally. But again, everything was safe. The place that we went to, took, safety precautions. We took extra precautions and it was a good time. So, but it was just a clarity thing, just going out there, seeing how things were, especially where we went. Usually it's super crowded. And it was like, it wasn't obviously as crowded. Not everything was open. A lot of things are boarded up still from like, the peaceful protests and things like that. But it was still fun enough. And I honestly preferred it that way. The airplanes were not crowded at all. It was absolutely amazing. And, the location again, wasn't that crowded, but there were still enough people where you felt the point of, the activity, like you still got that vibe, but it just wasn't on a point where you felt like, okay, I'm feeling like super, like I'm risking my whole life. I didn't get that vibe at all. And so again, just having all of that happen and just finding a moment of clarity and then coming back and just keep getting into the swing of things. I think that's really all we can do. Now masks are the new norm. I was out doing some work the other day and I guess some places are doing micro proms where they're having like little, they're having couples like, you and your prom date come to like a nice location, you get some pictures done, you come eat, stuff like that. So this this couple was doing that, and she had a mask to match her dress. It was cute. It was super cute, but it was just so funny because it's like, this is the norm now. You know what I mean? Like now, you're matching everything. Yesterday I was at work and they were like, "Oh, I love how your mask matched your outfit." And I'm like, I'm just trying to do something, trying to make the most out of
Right,
it.
right.
And then I gotta wear it, so I might as well over here sweating under this joint. I might as well try to look cute wearing it, But it's just crazy how much like the norm has changed over, the past few months. And now it's just like, as much as we can't stand the mask, we know this is what it's your keys, your wallet, your mask now. You know what I mean? Your phone, like it's part of those essentials at this point. Yeah.
Well, definitely the new norm is the mask. That's for sure. It's 100 and plus out here, so I cannot breathe in my mask. It's very hard to do anything in this heat with the mask on. So obviously a lot of people are now cutting back on going out because they don't want to be out sweating and wearing this mask. A lot of girls who wear a lot of makeup, they're not trying to be out there in these streets without no makeup and no mask. So, you're not seeing a whole lot of activity outside like you would normally see, but it is picking up. The footwork on these sidewalks is coming back. I see it. Right. And honestly, it's more of the Black community than anything. Just getting back to it. They really don't have, I feel, much of a choice. The fast restaurants have always been open. A lot of the people around here of African Americans who live in this area work at a lot of the local food chains. So there's a lot of them walk to work. And if they don't walk to work, I mean, there's just a lot of them there. Like we're in an area for that. So it's interesting to see. I did see a report that they're saying African Americans are affected more than anybody else by this situation, by this pandemic and this virus. I'm not about to jump into the politics. I'm not about to jump into the news. Right. But I say that to say, just wear y'all mask, y'all. Like, wear y'all mask when y'all out and about. When you get home, take your mask off. I mean, don't go nowhere. If you don't want to wear it, don't go nowhere. Yeah. Don't, because you're really setting yourself up. Like, at the end of the day, if you haven't taken care of your immune system, and even for those who have taken care of their immune system, like, you just don't know what's out there. There is so much more out there than COVID-19 that you can get. So this is, I see this could possibly be helping you in a way versus hindering you. Because, like, for instance, I had my mask on when I was doing my client's hair, and she was like, you don't, like, basically, like, you don't have to wear it. And I'm like, no, I'm doing a treatment that I have to wear it, like, because it's better if I wear it than not. The same way Asians well, not Asians, but anybody doing nails, and all those fumes are kicking back on them and they're wearing a mask. And honestly, the client should be wearing a mask too, because the fumes are around you too. You should be wearing that too. That's the same thing. Like, when you're in a salon, honestly, we should be wearing masks when we're using certain products, because those fumes are going to get into your lungs, and they're going to damage something at some point. And you do enough of it, and now you got mesothelioma. Now you're looking crazy. So, moving forward. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was your business and your surroundings and how they're being affected after all of this that's going on with the protesting and the George Floyd and the movements. And I've had a couple situations with the brand, not with the brand. I've had a couple situations with the area that I work in. I know I'm not the only one going through these things, because it happens everywhere, no matter what. Like, me and Ronai were talking about it before we came on, but just like being aware of your surroundings and what's going on in the world today. How are we behaving as minorities with the other race? Ronai.
And vice versa. Yeah.
Yes. So it was a situation where I was doing a white couple, and I felt some type of way about how my Black, they're not my coworkers. What would I call them? They're like,
I would say like your neighbors, you know what I mean? In the studio, your studio neighbors.
Yeah, studio neighbors and stuff, how they were treating my white clients, or any client that's not Black, basically. How they're treating my clients coming in is just super ignorant. And I just felt like, I shouldn't have to move my business to the outskirts and West Bumble because of how our people are acting towards towards others that are not like
Mhm.
that. You know what I mean? I just feel like that is super rude. And honestly, I lost a lot of business behind moving to where I moved to because of a lot of ignorance prior to the pandemic, prior to George Floyd. Just the mindset of
Yeah.
how these people acted in this area. So, and I accepted that because I didn't want to sell my people out by going again to West Bumble.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to make no money. I'm not going to be able to provide for my family, and I'm not going to be able to have a successful business unless our people understand how to support and when to and when not to act a certain way. There's a time and
Right.
place for everything, and if you're around a business as a client or as a business neighbor, there's a certain way you need to act. You don't need, if your particular business that you're supporting doesn't care and they're just like as ratchet as they want to be, that's fine. But if their neighbor is very conservative, you should respect that as well. Handle y'all business in y'all little area, and when you come out of that, just be respectful. That's all we're asking. I'm not asking you to be like me. I'm not. I'm
Right.
asking you to be respectful to the businesses around you. So that was the issue that I had, and I really didn't know how to bring that up without making either parties, black people or white people or Spanish or whoever, feel any type of way, because yeah, it's different when it affects your money and it affects your
Right.
so Renee.
I, like we were saying even before this, it's such a touchy subject. I feel like no matter, even how you had said it just now, I feel like when a person doesn't want to receive or come to certain truths, come to the, to the point of certain truths, everything becomes off offensive. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things. And this vlog is not for the closed-minded. You have to be open-minded if you're going to watch us. We don't make these things just to cater to a certain audience. The point of these vlogs is really to expand your mind as much as possible.
Right.
And very plainly put, I mean, everybody has to do better, because it's not just, Black and Spanish people that are doing that to white people. It is also white people doing that to us as well. Either way you write it, it needs to stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
in light of all of these things going on, like, you think that it's like you would want it together, get better, but at the same time, I do also understand the fact that we are living in very tense times. Even now, let's have a real conversation right now and say that there is not a moment now when you go outside and you feel like you don't see somebody's privilege. Like, at some point or another throughout the day, I'm like, there's that privilege shit. You know what I mean? And I catch myself and I'm like, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. You do start to see who feels like they can do whatever they want. The people that, like you said, take the time to step back. Although it's fine to be yourself. Be yourself. Nobody's telling you to change. It's just be a stronger version of yourself, a more mature version of yourself. A more relaxed, laid back version of yourself. Not everything requires a reaction, which I also think is a mental maturity thing too. As we're young and we feel like our voices need to be heard, and which is very important. It's more about the way we go about it. You know what I mean? And so you're going to come across situations where people are being ignorant. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to meet ignorance with ignorance. But even more so, I think, especially as minorities, if we wanted to be, the whole point of these arguments and these fights and these protests and these riots and everything is to be treated equally. But where I think we have the problem, and we have to find a way to fix it, is that I sometimes feel like we want equality only when it's beneficial, but at the same time, if you are a Black or white, a Black male or female, or a Spanish or a minority male or female in general that is owning a business, and you see white people and you feel like you got to diss them, or you don't want to welcome them, you want to refuse service right off the bat just because they're white. How is that any different from a white person looking at you and saying, can I help you? And totally disregarding who you are and what you might be bringing to the table just off of the strength of the color of your skin. Right. There is no difference. I've had a few conversations where they'd ask, like, can Black people really be racist? Absolutely. I think, when you say certain things, when you say racial things, it is race. It's racist. Like that. Let's be clear. Let's call ourselves on that, because that is very much a thing that can happen. Let's not act like That's impossible because we have Spanish people that can't stand black and whites. We have black people that can't stand Spanish and whites or whatever. You know, we have that mixture in every community, which again is an issue. Racism is an issue throughout every community. Let's be clear. We have to be real about that. But, you know, going back to what you said about it affecting your business, this is when it really becomes an issue. You know, you want us to be taken seriously. You want to be taken seriously. You want your business to be taken seriously. You want your clients to feel comfortable no matter where, whether it's in the trenches or it's in the hills. You want them to feel like they matter.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be treated a certain way when all they're trying to do is get catered to. They're trying to get their hair done. You know what I mean? That's it.
Right.
Trying to come in, get your hair done, get a nice little massage in the head and be out. Like,
right.
And so before you even walk through the door, if you're feeling uncomfortable, that's already a problem. That's already affecting your business. Then you have to struggle choose between do I acknowledge the elephant in the room or do I just move forward and act like it never happened and just make the most of my experience, which I think a lot of people tend to do. And I think sometimes people feel some type of way about that. So it's so frustrating. And in your situation, you know, it's messed up because it was people ranging from kids to adults acting like that. And it's like,
exactly. Generations.
Right. It's just like, what can you say now? Luckily, your clients, who are not only activists in the Black Lives Matter movement, but also were just understanding about what is actually going on and didn't take it personally.
Right.
But not everybody's like that. You know what I mean? And like, don't get me wrong. Like, again, if the same thing's happening on the opposite, I hate the tit for tat perspective. I hate it. You know, I really don't see the point in doing people how they do you a lot of the time. You know what I mean? I understand energies and, you know, sometimes wanting to match that and wanting to, you know, maybe distance yourself, whatever. But when you feel like you got to be ignorant, like the same people that you're talking shit on, that's when you really need to come to terms with the fact that you're no better than them. And you hate to hear it. And I don't care because you need to hear it. We all need to hear it. You are no better than them if you were literally stooping to their level, doing the exact thing that they're doing to you.
Right.
And people hate to hear that because it's like, you know, the saying, oh, you kill more flies with honey than vinegar. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, basically, you know, kindness kills. And my mom always taught me that. Kill them with kindness. You know what I mean? Because people can't stand that, especially when they know they're trying to get under your skin and see you get out of character. The best thing you could do, okay, you know, whatever, because they were automatically assuming you were going to react ignorantly. Right. But then it's like when you're already acting like that, when nobody did anything to you, it's just kind of like, again, I get it. Tensions are extremely high. I'm not knocking anybody for feeling uncomfortable in certain situations. I think at one point or another, we are feeling like that right now. But that does not mean that you have to go out of your way to be an asshole. Right. Because you don't. And then again, like you said, you as a Black female, now you're torn. You want to support your community. You want to support your people. You still want to give back to that side. But it's like at the same time, you're insulting people that didn't do anything to you. Right. So it's like, you're messing up my business and I'm still trying to support you. Like how we meeting halfway? Because right now we're not. Right now it just made me look like a fool. And I had to spend, you know, the next hour or so calming the situation down. But yeah, apologizing. Exactly. So all I could really say about that is just, you know, everybody, and this is not just, you know, our people, everybody, every community, you really have to do better with that. You really have to stop being that ignorant. You know,
and not to cut you off, this is part of the demographics area of your business plan, right? Where you're choosing where you want to place your business, because depending on the type of clientele that you have, that's how you make that move, or whoever you're looking to bring in as a customer or whatever. Where you locate your business at, it means so much. It matters so much. And in this particular situation, it has taken a lot away from my business. Now, I knew that prior to coming to this location. I did this as more for me than anything else. This was for me to come to this location, support the community in that area, because that's an area that needs to be built up. That's an area that needs to show we do have great people in this area. It's not all bad. It's not all ghetto. It's not all. So, and I'm very comfortable in this area as well, you know, but again, I have a wide range of clients. I have I don't really have too many of the loudmouth clients anymore. Those kind of like fell by the wayside. I have more of the clients like myself, or even more conservative. That's where
Okay.
so it basically, I had lost a lot of clients to the area. They had already said to me before I even signed the lease, when I talked to them about it, well, if you go to there, I'm not. Just call me when you move to another place.
Right.
And I'm like, no problem. Like I get it. I understand it, but I'm not gonna not support my people because you're uncomfortable with my people.
Right.
But I've seen firsthand several times why. Like, they
Yeah.
are uncomfortable from the stuff that they hear, and it's more so what they think they know that they're uncomfortable
Right.
with, because they're not really in the environment to feel any type of way. But with the situations that have happened around me, they are in the environment, and it's happening to them at that very moment. No different from when we go into a high-end retail store and we're greeted at the door, but in a way where, what are you doing here? Like, you don't belong
Right.
here. Like, you don't got the
Right.
type of money to spend in here.
Right.
Like, what could you possibly be knocking on my door for? You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
I get it. It is the way of the world. It is the way of society. That's never probably going to change. But what I can say, as a business owner and as a small business owner, you got to be ready to take that on. As
Yeah.
far as the demographic is concerned, you got to be ready to stand up, number one, for your clients, and stand up to the people who are doing this to your business, because sometimes they need to be addressed. These other minorities in my business need to be addressed, and they will be addressed. You know what I mean? There's a way to do it. You don't have to argue. You don't have to put your business on Front Street. There's a way to do it. You can go directly to that person. You can let that person know, this isn't working, and you need to know what you did to my to my client and how you made them feel. Regardless of how you feel, this is a business, and we have to handle it as a business and not let our feelings get involved. So that's my that's my
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think it's just, I feel like between COVID and between BLM, again, tensions and attitudes and everything is just at an all-time high in so many
yes.
different ways. People's minds are just pointed in so many different directions. They're worried about their health, they're worried about their lives, they're worried about their kids, their uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, you know, which they already were before, but it's just like now even more so. So many other things happening that we're reading about, and I get it. Again, like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form knocking the fact that, you know, the reality of the situation is people are horrible and people judge you and people do act ignorant towards you because of the color of your skin. But I just need us to acknowledge the fact that that's all around. That's not just white people doing that to you. That is very much us doing that to them from time to time as well. And I just feel like no one is more right than the other. I think we both need to cut it out. Period. Like,
Right.
if you don't want that type of treatment, you know, why treat them like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Even when it gets difficult, and I get it. I feel like if you're being disrespected, that's obviously a little different. You're gonna go about the situation a little differently. But if people are literally walking in to support a local Black business and you are automatically showing nothing but straight ignorance and rudeness at the door, I don't understand. This is what you want. This is what you literally wanted. So why are you, and the whole, you know, a lot of this is making these white people pay attention. They're supposed to wake up and, you know, and when they're trying to do things like this, it's automatically like, oh nah, we're good. You know what I mean? Nah, I mean, you tried, you know what I mean? But I'm good. I'm not feeling, and then we can't be like that. And you don't want to hear it, but we had to be the ones to say it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that because it is affecting your business. It affected her business. You know what I mean? Like, and again, you're spending the rest of the time that they're feeling like an asshole. It's, you know, feeling like you got to apologize for your own people, which, come on, man. Like, we shouldn't, you know, that's not something you want to do in general. I shouldn't have to apologize for my brothers or my sisters on the side of me trying to make their coins too. But at the same time,
Right.
they didn't do anything. They just walked into support. That was it. You know what I mean? So it's just it's a crazy time. Like I said, you know, the privilege thing, I know we are seeing it. It is real. That's another thing. We have to acknowledge that is absolutely real. And it can be very ugly to watch. That's the ultimate fact. Obviously, we're seeing that left and right. But the same way that we are not all the same, is the same way that they're not all the same as well. You know what I mean? And that's not just coming from somebody that has white in them. And, you know, that's not the point of why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying it because I genuinely feel like that. You know what I mean? I have some very caring, active white people in my life that literally do what they're supposed to do. And I have people that don't. And you distance yourself and you do what you got to do. But again, all around the board, Asian, Black, you know, Spanish, whatever you are, you know, just try to do better in that area because it is affecting your business ultimately. And it's like going back into what you said about the demographic thing, you know, that's why it's such a big part of business when you're creating a business plan, when you're, you know, and even when it's just in your head, like you're thinking about who are you catering to with this business, you know, and these are the types of things that people think about, unfortunately. You know what I mean? I mean, stereotyping is a real thing. And that's from anywhere. That's stores to jobs. You know what I mean? We all seen it. You know what I mean? From the way we do our hair, you know, even when I interview, you know what I mean? If I'm interviewing for a place, I used to feel like I had to straighten my hair all the time. You know what I mean? Just to look a certain way. And then after a while, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Now, granted, I might do a little different style from this, but still, like, I still want to remain true to myself. But it's just like, you know, we got to break those barriers and we have to, you know, just be free from this, you know, these limitations that they're trying to put on us, you know, period. And just, you know, just try to be better than the enemy. That's it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's really how you have to think about it. Be better than the enemy. Like that's really how you have to go into these situations. There shouldn't be a tit for tat. That's childish. We need to grow up from that. It really should be, you know, just be better than them. Be better than your enemy. You know, have a better mentality, have a better attitude, and be more supportive, period. Because we all have our share of ignorance in every community. We all have our share of, you know, murderers, rapists, killers. You know, like we all have that. You know what I mean? So let's, you know, let's just try to be better. I mean, that's all. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Try to be better, you know, and acknowledge the fact that when you're being ignorant, like you're not only affecting yourself, but you're affecting literally everybody around you, including the businesses that you're standing in front of, the people that are standing by you. You know what I mean? Your family, your friends, everything. Everything. It's okay to not be about yourself all the time. You know what I mean? Yes, by all means, be about what you got to be about. Nobody's going to support you as much as you support you. I absolutely understand that thought process, but also acknowledge the fact that not everybody's against you. You know what I mean? Not every people aren't against you. They're for themselves. That was a big thing that I learned over the years. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to make it. Everybody's trying to do and survive and just get through life on a regular basis. We don't really ask to be here. That's another thing that you got to kind of keep in mind. You know, we were all born into this, you know, so, you know, it's just a lot to think about. And I think if you allow yourself to not be so prideful and to not be so closed-minded, like it'll really change your day to day. Like you just feel like a lot is lifted off of your shoulders. You know what I mean? You don't have to. I've seen some very angry people where they just carry the weight of the world on their shoulders and they're just so upset all the time. And it's like, you don't have to be like that. Like you really don't. And like to be like that and then to go into a whole different side of it where you just feel you feel weightless. You know what I mean? You feel free. You feel like you can do and you have no limitations and you're just like, so
wait, you pause. This t-shirt that you have on, is this from the office?
Yeah.
I need that.
Yes, I got it at Target. Yes, I saw it. I was like, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, it is.
I'm looking at like Shroot Farms. That sounds familiar.
Because I can't see it on my end, but yeah.
I can barely see it. All I see is the Root Farms. I couldn't see the S
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, but that is so funny. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. But no, you know, like just all in all, like once you take that weight and you just remove it, and a lot of that is mental too, you know what I mean? Just having the mental conversations and understanding, you know, again, you know, there's so much more to what you think and, you know, what you see, but, and acknowledging the reality of the situation. There is a lot of ugliness in this world. There's a lot of horrible things going on right now, but that doesn't mean that you have to be horrible. You know what I mean? Because ultimately you're just hurting yourself. And that's where it bothers me. Because it's like you're hurting yourself and you're affecting you the most. And like you don't see it because you don't want to see it. But it's like that is the reality of the situation. Like you're doing a lot for when you don't have to. Work smarter, not harder. You don't have to go out of your way to be horrible when people are not even just walking down the street. You know what I mean? When they're literally, it's ugly. And we are better than that. Let's be clear.
Right.
We are absolutely better than that. Don't act like you're not, because you are. So, it's just be better.
Right.
Be better, do better. And if you're not feeling somebody's vibe, then remove yourself from that. Like,
Right.
at some point, and by all means, if it things need to be spoken on, speak on them.
Right.
Like, absolutely. I'm not saying don't speak. You know what I mean? If there's a situation where you feel your voice is absolutely necessary at that moment, of course, go off, sis. Go off, brother. Like, do what you got to do. But not everything requires a reaction. And I think all of that goes hand in hand, like all of that. So
you hit it right on the nose. You hit it right on the nose. But that's the thing. We speak up. Half the time we speak up when we ain't got no business speaking up. And then when the situation does come, everybody's looking crazy, or they're taking it in a whole nother direction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just nobody really knows how to handle situations in this time of tension. And everybody's on edge. And everybody just is ready to just bark. And it's just like, I get it. I do get it. I understand it.
Right.
However, we have to move on from this. We have to move forward. And the only way that we're going to be able to really make it and move forward, yes, is number one, where the Caucasians are choosing, or white people are choosing to come into our areas and our businesses and support and really try to understand our communities, to be able to educate their people on how we actually operate, and that we are all not the same. You know what I'm saying? And the saying, be better than the enemy, is definitely gem for this vlog, because that is what we all need to be better than the enemy at all times. I don't let a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world necessarily affect my day-to-day operation. Not to say that I don't think about it and that it doesn't affect me, but I don't let it affect my business. I don't let it affect my work ethic. That's what I don't let it affect. Because if I let that happen, I'm gonna be depressed. My business is going to suffer, and then my mental is going to suffer right along with it. So, I mean, we all have to make a decision as small business owners. You have a unique space right now to, influence others in one way or the other, and in one direction or the other. So, for me, I'm actually putting my business onto a location that can withstand and support and encourage the people like me, the small business owners like me, and then the clients that are looking for this type of aesthetic and this type of environment. So I'm excited for that to happen.
As you should be. I think, when we started talking about this in general, the first person that came to my mind was Nipsey, because this was a big thing for him. You know what I mean? Like, recreating his communities and opening businesses so that communities can thrive, and so that they don't necessarily have to go to places where they might feel uncomfortable or they might be judged. You know what I mean? And I get that, and I absolutely get that. But I also think a big part of it, and I would hope that he would feel the same way, is not judging people who also want to support that. You know what I mean? And so, the reality of the situation, whether being horrible or not, you really don't know their story. You don't know anything about them. The same way they don't know anything about you. And that is the beautiful thing. But there's also, like, the tough thing about it is that you think you know somebody and you really don't. We have them sized up, we put them in a box, we stereotype, because we all do that too, unfortunately. And that's it. You have your mind made up. And again, it's just, being mindful and just trying to be a little bit more open-minded, whether you have a small business, you're starting a small business, your small business failed, you know what I mean? This might be one of the reasons why. You really have to think about these things because they play a very vital role in how successful your business is going to be. Not just the location, but the way you talk, your attitude, you know what I mean? How you react to certain situations, how you handle conflict. That all goes hand in hand with what we're talking about today. And not even just race aside, just people in general. You know what I mean? It don't even matter what color your skin is. It's just a matter of your attitude. People can say 3 words and you automatically feel like you have them summed up. I've worked at places like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, their whole demeanor done set it off. And it's just like, okay. But then I've also met people that have that mysterious side of them. And it's like, they have to get comfortable and they have to open up and they have to do these things. Like, people are more complex than we give them credit for. You know what I mean? Like, we are complex people. We are complex beings. Like, that is just what it is. Like, in short, we're we can maybe be put into a box if you think about it. But like realistically, like no, there's so much more to that. Like maybe on the surface, but like when you dig deeper and you see these things, there's no way. We're not meant to be put in boxes. You know what I mean? And that's something that we gotta get out of our head. You know what I mean? We're not meant to be put in boxes. We're not meant to be just one type of thing or one type of person or not. We're not. You know what I mean? And this goes right along with it. So.
Well, there you are, guys. With vlog number 22, I mean, we started with, where we are now dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, George Floyd, moving into business and demographics and just, people being like humanity, like,
yeah,
like, I don't even know. People just have to figure out a way to make it. I get it. We're all on our, everything one day at a time type of mode, but like, just try to stay as positive as you can, and try to take care of you. Self-care. Like, try to take care of you. If you're taken care of, you won't really care about what's going on. Like, if everything you inside of you is right, you'll be fine. And the way you appear to other people will come off in more of a positive than a negative, which can uplift and motivate them to do the same. So just take care of yourself. And yeah. Any last words?
No, that's really it. Continue to build and be great and be better than the enemy. That's it. That's it.
All right. Well, this is vlog number 22. I am Chynel with Chapter 28 Beauty.
And I am Ronai with Anomaly the Agency.
And we will see you guys.
Right. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So back it up.
So the beautiful thing about small businesses is that it's you're ever growing, you're ever changing. You know what I mean? Especially in the early stages. So Chynel has a lot of transitions going on. I have transitions going on. Schedules being built to capacity, all kinds of things. Very exciting. Also equally overwhelming and causes anxiety. Just a lot of things. But it makes you feel alive. That's the beautiful thing. It makes you feel alive. But because of that, we're going to still try to do it. I guess we're going to still try to do it on a weekly basis. We might have to push it back. It might come out a little bit later, just, due to our schedules. But either way, we'll still have videos. So be on the lookout for that.
Great. That is it. All right, y'all. So we will see you guys in the next week or so with vlog number 23. All right. Bye.